folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book things here. Today's video is going to be me reacting to 1-star reviews of my favorite contemporary books. I did one for horror/thriller and then figured I would do one for some of my favorite contemporaries. So I just picked 5 sort of at random. These just happen to be 5 of my favorite ones. One from last year, a couple from this year, and so I figured let's react to 1-star reviews about them. I did pick one that I think are actually gonna upset me when I hear other people's opinions, which, you know, normally doesn't happen for me, but I really like these books, guys, so we'll see. The first one I have here is my 5-star adult contemporary, and that is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And I mentioned in my favorites of the year that I don't understand how somebody could rate this low just because I like it so much, but that's me liking it, right? So, listen. On Goodreads, it currently has a 4.26, so clearly a lot of people like it. There's obviously the least number of 1-star reviews, not very many at all, really. So, the first one I have here says, well, I never thought I'd see the day where I didn't fall in love with a Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but here we are. I'll sure be the black sheep on this, and I'll never understand why. I hated this book, and I say that very infrequently. I hated every single character, with the exception of maybe one, but even he turned out to be a huge disappointment eventually. Plot was both simplistic yet beyond difficult to believe. Contrived and cookie cutter are also words that come to mind here, and will only make sense if you read it, no spoilers. One major plot had my eyes rolling so hard I convinced I was having a stroke. I also really disliked the main romance. I felt there was a huge double standard in how this relationship was portrayed. This great love was abusive, emotionally draining, and not what love is, in my opinion. While I'm all for authors branching out and trying new kinds of books, this book did not work for me in the least. I could see there being issues with it being very different from other Taylor Jenkins Reid's books, but that being said, this book is like truly wonderful, and maybe a little cookie cutter in like formulaic, I can get that, but still wonderful storytelling, so I don't know. The story was not for me. By the third husband, I was so bored. I found a lot of the story repetitive, eye-rolling, did not care for the main character or the main narrator, listened to it at 2x speed just to get through it. Okay. Wow, that was awful. The content is of the supermarket tabloid variety, and the writer lacks all subtlety and grace. She might as well beat me over the head with a mallet as she introduced her themes. This book is the stuff that gives chick lit a bad name. I don't at all think this is chick lit. And I've read a lot worse chick lit, I can tell you that. The characters are caricatures. Yeah, okay. 1.5 stars. Thank God this is over. This was so bad, I'm actually angry I picked this up. God knows why anyone seemed to love it. This book is nothing but a recollection of dysfunctional, toxic, and abusive relationship. If I have to hear someone call sex making love again, I will actually puke, not just gag. 1 star, didn't finish. 1 star, intolerable in every way. Lazy and predictable drama, all plot points were very easily visible, and frankly this is a disappointing book in every sense. The twist lacked any creativity. I saw the twist coming too, however, I still thoroughly enjoyed the story and the character of Evelyn herself, so I can understand that, but I don't agree. I think I'm just gonna move on. The next book we have here is Anger is a Gift by Mark Ashiro. This is like pretty much one of my favorite books of all time. This might actually hurt me. My anger might be a gift upon reading 1-star reviews of this. On Goodreads right now, it is rated out of 4.14, which is very high, least number of 1-star reviews. 1 star, fucking magnets, how do they work? Rude. Rude. So 1 star, Anger is a Gift tries to hold up a mirror to the world to show you its ugliness. Racism, classism, hatefulness, and good intentions are gone awry, are the cornerstone supporting the message that police brutality is real and awful. But the mirror is distorted and the message is diluted in frequently sloppy writing, an unlikable protagonist, and the characters who only exist to prop him up or draw his fire. And while it might try to make you angry at an unjust world, one of the most infuriating things is how evident the potential was this to be an all-around good book. There are very few positive things to say about this book as it sits. Sometimes the writing isn't bad, it tries to tell an important message about police brutality and racism and marginalized community that have no hope, but it gets lost in paper villains like the nameless, faceless police force with high-tech weaponry and the shadowy Principal Elliot, who is never more than a voice over a loudspeaker. Allies become antagonists to the point where the only clear message is police and white people bad, everyone else good. 1 star. I really thought that I was going to enjoy this book, but I couldn't even finish it. Okay, the characters are black and gay and intersectional, and the plot is raw and politically relevant. I think all these things I was looking forward to. The thing is, I can't think of a single one of my students for whom this book would be a perfect read, and I teach diverse students of all sorts. The praise I've noticed mostly comes from adults, and I wonder what will happen as more teens read and review this novel. Will they buy the premise and believe the characters? Will they feel that this is as numbingly predictable as I did? If they like it, it may give me a second chance. Okay, so like that review is obviously from a teacher, and that actually raises a really interesting question is, you know, as an adult, I like this book, but is it relatable to teenagers? That is a very good question, and that's something that if you're a teenager who watches my channel and has read this, let me know. I actually find that review very useful, even though she found it predictable. It would be interesting if the target audience for this found it predictable as well. Or relatable or anything like that, what they basically think about it. 1 star, well, I guess it's a time for me to go against popular opinion again. This book was hard to finish, meaning it was a serious struggle. The writing was bad, clunky, a lot of telling instead of showing, etc. I don't even want to get into all my thoughts here about this book because they are largely negative, and I don't feel like perpetuating this feeling of negativity. But I do want to end this by saying there's many important topics covered in this book, but I just don't feel like this book covered those topics in the best way. Yeah, alright. I mean, I just really liked it. I really liked the writing. I kind of like a little more of a clunky style. I guess if that's what you're gonna say that it is, that's fine. I liked it. Moving on. Again, I agree with some of the things being said in the 1 star reviews. For that, like, how do teenagers react to this is a very interesting question. So we're going to get my heart torn apart again. We're going to do Dress Codes for Small Towns by Courtney Stevens. Again, one of my absolute favorite books of all time. So let's see what people have to say about this. So the average rating on Goodreads for this is a 3.97, so almost a 4. Oh my god, this was one of the most boring books I've ever read in my entire life. Like, okay, some cool points for having a gender-fluid queer protagonist in a Christian town, but Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, this was one of the most boring books I have ever read. People literally calling this a slice of life novel, and sure, it is, but this book is essentially a slice, if it would be a slice of over-processed, tasteless apple pie. And yeah, sure, it had a queer protagonist, but I feel like books shouldn't get more points because it was inclusive these days. All books should be inclusive. I agree. I agree with that. We shouldn't give a pass to absolutely tear-jerkingly boring books just because they're inclusive. This legit was a book about teenagers doing teenager things. That's it. God, I was so bored. Even it wasn't well written enough to compensate for its lack of plot. It took me over a year to read this. Okay, I don't want to bash anyone's reading style and reading pace, but if it took you a year to read this, then it might not be that the book is boring, it might just be that you took a year to read it. Yes, this book is teenagers doing teenager things, and I fucking loved it. I liked slow burn stuff, I like slice of life kind of shit, and I thought it was fun. It was one of the most accurate portrayals of a friendship group that I've seen in a book. Very reminiscent of how I spent my teenage years with my group of friends. So, like, I don't think it was boring. I don't think it was boring at all. Yeah, not a lot happens, I'll admit that. It's not grand, there's not like a big pivotal plot point. That's what's beautiful about this book in particular. So, alright, we're getting a little heated. 1 star. I didn't like this book. It felt too preachy and unrealistic. I never felt like I was reading about a group of teens. The author tried to seem deep by throwing at lines like, I don't kiss anyone, I kiss people who have little pieces of my soul that I've been looking for. No one talks like that, and it's just laughable to read. Here's another one. I didn't like The Fault in Our Stars for the same reason I didn't like this one. I can't connect to the story or characters if it feels like it is a vehicle for some message. Now, here's another thing. I don't find this preachy. There is religion in this, but I don't find it preachy. And in terms of unrealistic teenage characters, I literally had a friend growing up that I had a crush on. He was like my guy friend that I did have a crush on. And I'm not kidding, I always joke now as an adult that like when I go to describe him to people that he speaks like a YA teenage boy, because he was and still is one of the smartest people that I know, and just talked in a way that was like years beyond his time basically. And like we used to do shit like sit in a field and talk like philosophy for hours. And so little snippets of teenagers talking like that is realistic to me because I was a teenager surrounded by other teenagers that talk like that. And I talk like that. And like I was like, I don't know. Listen. There's a reason why I like John Green's books sometimes, okay? Because some teenagers talk like that. Some of them do, not all of them do. And if you're surrounded by ones that don't, then you may look at it and go, why like teenagers don't talk like that? Teenagers when I was a teenager did. So, unpopular opinion time. Frog tea. D and F at 13%. Nah fam, I'm not about that life, sorry. The writing style was painful, pretentious, obnoxious, infuriating. Every single character was a manic pixie dream girl / boy. My eyes rolled so much while reading that little that I managed to push myself through. I give up, bye. Okay. Boring. It tried way too hard to be different and couldn't hold my interest. None of the characters were likable. I couldn't care less about what happened to any of them. This was a waste of my time. D and F. I found the pacing slow and the characters difficult to relate to. 1 star. 300 pages in. Oh my god, a plot? Anyway, okay. Next. Because I'm upset. Okay, we're gonna get into A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. This is a story about a selective mute girl and a deaf boy. Maybe people would say that the representation isn't right, and which would break my heart because I'm not sure about that, but alright. So average rating on Goodreads is a 4.03, so pretty good there. 1 star DNF. 1 star, not gonna touch this author's other books anytime sooner for sure. 1 star, definitely not perfect for fans of Morgan Matson. 1 star, not enjoying, there is little interesting content. And there's one more review that has spoilers, and let's just read this. Alright. This book was a real challenge to get through, especially with it being 400 pages. The progression of the story felt really disjointed. It was just jumped to random dates or events, and it feels like they were all just mashed together. The romance was an insta-love one. I didn't get the connection at all. It just felt like two people get put together, and next thing, they love each other. I thought there was a pretty decent, like courtship there. Okay. It says, this review is all over the place because this book felt like all over the place. I really wanted to love this book. I was seriously excited about the synopsis. I love seeing books that focus on disabilities or mental issues. This one did just not hit the mark for me personally. And that's it for 1 star reviews that have written reviews. So I guess enough people kind of like this, which I'm not upset about. So just gonna put that down. And then lastly, I'm gonna move into Girl Made of Stars by Ashley Herring Blake. I don't know what people would have to say about this because again, it's just a good book. Ugh, I don't know. This book on Goodreads right now is rated a 4.25, so again, very highly rated book, not a lot of 1 stars. So let's get into this. For such a good concept, this was so disappointing. None of the characters elicited any connection from me. Okay. There's a lot of spoilers in the reviews for this, so I'm just gonna put up a meh spoiler. If you have not read Girl Made of Stars, please click out now because the reviews of this are going to spoil this. Okay, so this one says 1 star. What the hell did I just read? I'm so happy I didn't buy this book because it wasn't worth it. Where's the plot? From like literally page 1. There was just too much that went on and nothing to do with the assault, and where the hell was the justice for her? I wanted more and I wanted less of Myra and problems with her ex. I mean, 1 star, everything felt so forced, the ending was abrupt, so I'm giving this 2 stars, and that's me being generous, but you rated it 1 star, so. What the hell did I just read? I thought it would deal with the actual premise presented in the synopsis. Girl had to deal with her best friend accusing her brother of rape. Instead, we got a story that didn't know whether it wanted to deal with rape, LGBTQ issues, feminism, dress codes, gender fluidity, and general YA emo-ness. The book spread itself thin, trying to deal with all these issues, and completely overlooks the main issue at hand. I didn't even understand what happened in the end because I was so bored I started skimming it. Don't recommend at all. It wraps up lovely, actually, at the end. Quite frankly, in my honest opinion, but okay. 1 star. Okay, there are a lot of issues here, so forgive me if this is a touch rambly. Girl Made of Stars is not just badly written, it's lazy, tropey, pretentious, and full of characters as shallow as a puddle. It also pretty catastrophically mishandles some sensitive topics. Let's discuss. The story's about two twins, and fucking hell, the author definitely will not let you forget that they're twins. So it says, so quickly let's check in on the score. Here's a list of the things that the story mishandles so dramatically as to be tasteless and offensive. Gender non-binary characters, sexual assault, child abuse, molestation, PTSD, trauma, victim blaming, the male gaze, gender double standard, and slut shaming. Look, I could keep going, but it'd be quicker just to say I can't think of a single thing that the story does well. In summary, I can think of endless better uses for your time than reading this trite, pathetic, offensive, pretentious drivel, like a bleach enema. Wow. Okay. You have opinions. Wow. I like this book. I thought it was great, and no amount of 1 stars are going to take away the fact that all of these books are some of my favorite contemporary books. Anyway, let me know your opinions down below. If you've read any of these books, do you like them? Do you agree with the 1 stars? Do you agree with my maybe 5-star rating? Just let me know. Keep me informed. Have a little chit chat down below. It's interesting, like I said, in all of them to read 1-star reviews to get a different look at what people are saying about the books that you've read. It's really like eye-opening, and I don't know, it sort of lets you judge a book as a whole, both the positive and negative things about it. Yeah, anyway, without making this video too long, I'm gonna let you guys go here. I do hope you guys are having a great day, and until my next one, I will talk to all of you soon. Bye.